Welcome back to Business Boone, a product of the Boone County Chamber and hosted by Deep in Talent Strategies. I'm Shauna Lake.
And I'm Matthew Albro. Today we're joined by Anita Bowen, the Executive Director of BCSSI. Anita, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We tend to kick this off with the same question, but it gives us a little insight. If your life were a movie, what would be the title?
So I'm thankful I got this question ahead of time, or who knows what I might have said. But I've always, throughout my life, tried to be a positive, upbeat, encouraging person. And I love the slogan, stay close to people that feel like sunshine. So what happens with sunshine sometimes is you can get burnt. And I think that throughout my life, sometimes the overachiever and positivity can get burnt. So I decided that my movie title for my life would be Sunshine with Boundaries.
Ooh, I love it.
I would watch that. I'm going to write it down.
Sunshine with Boundaries, and I'll work on my movie poster and we'll get that out so we can.
I like it.
Just kidding.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, knowing you, I would say you are sunshine that
sure.
attracts people. I'm excited that you're here and that you're going to be able to share more about your organization and its services. But before we do, just maybe share a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, so ironically, I started out in telecommunications, and so this brings back memories to me. It's so funny. It's been a lot of years, but I actually thought I wanted to be in news broadcasting, and so I did an internship in Lafayette. I went to Purdue and realized, no, I would take a different route in communications. So landed myself in a marketing role with a local bank, and through my volunteerism, found my passion for working with older adults. Worked for a number of years in the Lafayette area, Tippecanoe County. Been in Boone County with BCSSI now for about 13 years. So that's been my path and the way I discovered my passion, which I think is pretty cool that it was through volunteering.
Yes.
That I realized that that was going to be where I spent at least the second part of my career.
Thank you. That's terrific. I love hearing how people find their different career paths or the turns on their career path.
Yeah. So the green screen over there kind of brought me back like, I recall that this wasn't my favorite, but I think I can live through it.
Well, if you want to take over and interview us, that makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
You know, I didn't know BCSSI before I knew I was coming here, which that's on me, but I don't think I'm alone.
Absolutely.
Can you explain what the organization does and who you're serving?
Absolutely, and I think that that's a normal response from a lot of community members of all ages. So we have been in business since 1978. Had a wonderful woman by the name of Margot Corson, who was a Boone County legend who I aspire to. I didn't have an opportunity to meet her, but she and a fantastic team of volunteers put BCSSI in place back in the late 1970s. And many of the services and programs that we have today are the same as what she initiated back then. So we really operate with a three-prong approach, and that is that we do transportation, and that is for people of all ages now, but it wasn't that way in the beginning, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But then we go into the homes to do in-home care, to help our older adults live with dignity and independence as long as they can. And for us, the age for older adult is 60, which I feel like is very young. And many people, especially the older you get, you're like, ooh, that's not old. But so our age is 60 for older adult programming. And that third prong is really the activities, the events, the volunteer opportunities, all the things that we do to help people stay connected and aging well. And that includes the programs that we do. We have an office in Lebanon and an office in Zionsville.
That's great. So you're covering different parts of the county, truly.
We are, and we found that we needed to be intentional about that because there are different pockets in the county who really function differently. And we're not only intentional about doing programs in Lebanon and in Zionsville, but we also are consistent in making sure we get out into the other parts of Boone County because we don't want to leave anybody out. And sometimes people, for whatever reason, don't travel to a certain area, even within the county. And it's really important for us to make sure that we're connecting with as many older adults as we can, and the same for transportation. So our office in Lebanon is on Crown Point Drive near Witham Hospital, and in Zionsville, it is located in the town hall.
Convenient.
Very convenient.
I think the senior services, the activities and the in-home services seem logical with the mission, but can you tell us a little bit more about how the transportation came to be associated with the organization?
Absolutely. So Margot identified the fact that older adults were really disconnecting and maybe not even being able to access basic needs because for whatever reason they were no longer able to drive. Maybe family members didn't live nearby. And as you know, this is still the case. And so transportation was initiated in 1978, but in 2006, we were designated by the Indiana Department of Transportation as the public transit provider for Boone County. We have the opportunity to take kids to school, to take people to work, to take people to lunch, to run their errands, and we do it every Monday through Friday from approximately 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. by appointment. I say we're like the city bus for Boone County. Since we don't have a city bus, why not? So it's Boone Area Transit System. It is a program that we operate out of BCSSI. We call it BATS for short. We do have a bat costume that we can use for parades and the like, but it's something that is really not known, particularly since it's housed at BCSSI. It's still, unfortunately, people think that it's only for older adults. So we need the help getting the word out that we can. If you have, when I first came to BCSSI, my son was still in, I think he was in elementary school, and when he had camps, for example, in the summer, I would set him up to take a Boone Area Transit ride. He didn't mind. The drivers are men and women who continue to want to be engaged in our community. Many of them have had wonderful careers. Now they want to work part-time to stay active. And so it's a win-win. He was able to get to camp. I didn't have to leave work a couple times a day to make sure that he got to do what he wanted to do in the summer. And the drivers really are great with people of all ages. It's super cool.
I wish I had known that was an option when my kids were younger.
I know, Shauna, and I didn't know either until I applied for the job. I'm like, what is this? What is this right here in my own community that I might be able to do what I love and not commute? I was commuting to Lafayette and identified all these mysteries of BCSSI that could not only help older adults that I knew, but could help me and my family. So it was fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned that it's no longer senior driving. It's no longer transportation for just older people. Obviously, you're sending your child to camp that way. What about the drivers themselves? Where are they coming from? How do you find them? How does that part work?
That's a great question. So typically they come to us. They've heard about what we do, probably through a friend or a family member that is a driver. We're currently getting ready to hire, and we have a folder of resumes and applications of individuals in the community that are interested. And isn't that a great joy to us to not have to, we don't have advertising dollars, so to not have to spend money on advertising.
Right.
And by referral is the best. Because the drivers that we have told them pretty much exactly what it's like. And we require that they work at least 3 days a week. But they're part-time hours, and we try to be as flexible as we can to give them the time off that they need. As I said, most of them are retired from a wonderful career where they did all that extra hours. And so we like to be cognizant of the fact that they enjoy the flexibility. They want some additional time off maybe throughout the year to take longer vacations. So it's really word of mouth. And the BATS vehicles are all over the county and beyond. We can cross county lines as long as we have that availability in our schedule. So they're the best advertising that we could have. People see them and they're like, what is that? How can I get involved? And we love it.
That's fantastic. I know, I feel like every episode of the podcast ends up coming back to the growth of Boone County in one way or another, but we really can't avoid that conversation. How is the rapidly growing and evolving Boone County impacting BCSSI and the demands for your services?
In an incredible way, positively, but challenging, sort of like sunshine with boundaries. I mean, we have new people walking in every single day for our programs and services. So I see that we're going to need to grow. We're currently hopeful that we could enter into a capital campaign to do an additional building on our property. It would be for transit. One other challenge, particularly for transportation, is it's taking us longer to get everywhere, even within the county. So, for example, driving out 32 west, our drivers have really been, they're just great advocates. And they'll come back in and they'll give us the feedback. I mean, they're the ones that are out there and know what's going on in our communities. And they come back in and they talk to our managers who direct this program and they say, hey, we need to allow 10, 15 minutes more because this is what has changed. Or these are the roads that are closed. Or these are the concerns that we see. And we are in continuous feedback mode with them. I mean, that's the best way that we can improve and make sure that we're meeting the demands. It's a safety-first program, as you would expect and imagine. So while we want to be on time, and I think we have a great number of our trips that are on time, if we're running a little bit late, it's safety first. So that is a challenge that we've seen with the growth in the community, that our trips are taking longer. And so maybe we're not able to schedule as many in a day because we've only got so many hours. And so if even the trips in the county have taken longer, we might not be able to go over the county lines. As you can imagine, we do a lot of trips to Indianapolis for medical, particularly like to the Veterans Hospital. There are places in Marion County that we don't have here that we will still continue to go as long as we can. And so people schedule those trips ahead of time. But I would say in general, the growth is welcomed by BCSSI. We love meeting new people. Our diversity is increasing with the variety of individuals of all ages. We're seeing a lot of families moving their loved ones in, particularly in Zionsville and Whitestown. And so it gives us a chance to continue to grow and learn and figure out what new things we need to bring to the community.
That's amazing. Besides transportation, what are some of the more popular programs?
So I would say one of the most popular programs right now for people that are still really active are our bus trips. And we do day trips as well as long trips. So next, let's see, middle of this month, middle of April, we're getting ready to head out to Savannah with a busload. So you're talking about probably 50 people heading to Savannah for a week, and then our second long trip of the year is going to be to Niagara Falls.
Do you need any chaperones?
Shauna, I'll bring you an application and we will get you vetted for that. It's just, it's one of the most important things that we do to connect with people. Even if they're still working, which many of them are at age 60, they can take some time off to do some of these special activities and events with us. And then we build that relationship. So we're looking at planning programming really for the decade. So we've got people in their 60s and 70s still real active. And then we've got people in their 80s and 90s. And we celebrated within the last 2 years, we do our Olympics every summer. And we now have the 100 plus medal category. So we've had the first women who are over age 100 that we recognized in our Olympics. Now, the men have not gotten there yet, so we need to work on that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
But
challenge.
I think we will.
You've thrown the challenge flag
I think
out.
we will.
I love that. That's exciting.
So we're looking at ways that we can keep the decades of older adults connected to BCSSI, and we can build the relationship with them. We have a tagline of connecting the generations, and that's really important to us because sometimes we're seeing a daughter, a granddaughter, and there's, when we do, if you think about, like, if we're at age 60, we could potentially have somebody in their 80s and at 100 if they've had that longevity
Yes. Yeah.
in relationship with us.
That's right.
Which
That's
is awesome.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Well, this has been very educational and insightful for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You know the question Matthew asked you, how we like to start our conversations, but we also like to end all of our conversations with, what is something you know now that you wish you had known earlier in your career?
I wish I would have hurried less.
Oh.
Working with older adults has taught me that they have amazing, wonderful, incredible stories. Oftentimes, what they want most from us is to take the time to sit down and listen to their stories. So if there are people listening to this podcast who have a passion for older adults, I would say if you need a way to get connected to them, we could help with that. We often have people that I think are just lonely. For whatever reason, they're disconnected to maybe a circle, whether that's family, friends, community. And I didn't realize how important it is just to take the time. We're all so packing so much into our schedule, into our day, into our week. And I get frustrated sometimes when I have somebody come in and somebody will say to me, Anita, do you have time to talk to? I need to always say yes. That's hard. Today I had someone come in and I was like in the middle of a grant, which is so important for us because we're a private nonprofit and our funding is a challenge, as is for all nonprofits. But for me to take 15 minutes to sit down and listen, hurry less, be there for their stories. I think our kids wanted our time more than anything when we were raising them.
Yeah.
Now our elders want that too.
That's a great reminder. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
That's great.
So if someone is listening and is disconnected or knows someone who is disconnected or didn't realize that bats could get their kid to camp, or they want to get a part-time job driving one of those bats cars, where is the best place to go? What is the best way to get in contact with you and get involved?
We have a very robust website. It's boonseniors.org. We're also very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. And we would just encourage people to follow us there because that's the best way to get the most up-to-date information, and we're very, very active. To immediately find connection, you would go to our website, give us a call. Our main number is 765-482-5220. And I welcome people to stop by because I need to take that time to visit with them. We specifically have a program that is called a Friendly Visitor Program to try to help with the isolation of older adults. And so if there is someone out there listening to this podcast, we'll look forward to hearing from them. boonseniors.org.
Terrific. Thank you so much for being with us, Anita.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
This was great. And we will be back with more insightful conversations. Until then, continue leading and growing with purpose.